I can use it in future dates. So we'll record, and then what I'm gonna do is share this with you guys. You guys can see the screen now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Mimi, you've been quiet. You can jump in whenever you want to.
Okay, I'm here.
So let's start, right? So welcome. Thanks for being here. I'm Kelly. I go by Dr. Kelly. I go by Coach Kelly. Most people just call me Kelly. And what we want to do today, right, is we're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about the 3 systems that contribute towards our balance. I'm going to show you how to test those. We're going to go through that together. We're going to talk about how to start safely improving your strength with my favorite thing is like no excuses, right? So you won't need any kind of special equipment or anything like that. And then we're going to practice. We're going to do my top 4 exercises for getting stronger and improving your balance. And then just for being here, right? We're going to do something special for you 2 ladies and anybody else who wants to join us. Because we're going to start doing some classes. So at any point, if you guys have questions, don't hesitate, just ask them. But we'll get going. So our 3 balance systems, right, are our vision, right? Our eyes give our brain feedback of where we are in space. Sensation and body awareness. We have receptors like in our skin and in the muscles and in the joints, all throughout your body to tell you where your body is in space. So this is, you ever see people do sobriety tests? And yeah, I don't have you guys on camera right now, but close your eyes and put your fingertip on your nose, right? And then take it away. This is like human pin the tail on a donkey. Right? Did you do it?
Yeah.
You can do it. Can you do it, Jude?
I can.
Because that tells us when you close your eyes, right? The receptors in your fingers, the receptors in your nose, and your brain interprets those signals to say, hey, this is where we are, right? It doesn't appear to be complicated, but it's a pretty intricate process that allows us to communicate with our body like that. But in the same way, right? If you were to go, are we all sitting right now? We're probably all sitting. Well, let's stand up. I'm a big believer in moving too, right? If you were to stand up, your feet have receptors in them that tell you, okay, now we're standing, right? Standing is a different sensation than when there's no weight through your feet and you're sitting, right? So those receptors play a really important role in communicating with us about where our body is in space. And that's why it's one of the 3 components of our balance, right? And then the 3rd system is the fluid in our inner ears. And that, if you think of that, when you're driving along, you have a cup of coffee in your cup holder. And when you accelerate, where does the coffee go?
All over.
All over, yeah. Right, but it typically goes, if you move forward, the coffee moves. Does it go forward or backwards? Oh, we have another attendee. Let's let John in. Another second. We'll let him come on in. So Helga or Judy, answer my question. Which way does the coffee go?
Forward.
I don't drink coffee in the car, so I wouldn't know.
Fair enough.
It just swishes around, I
It
guess.
pushes around, right?
Yeah.
Hello, John. John's here. Welcome, John. I'm glad you're here. You're getting right into the thick of it. We're diving right in to our 3 balance.
Hi, John.
Hi, John, this is Judy and Mimi, or Helga. I don't know which one it's called.
Mimi is fine, Helga fine. Hi, John.
John might be muted. I'm not sure. So, but that's what happens is the coffee in the cup sloshes around. The same thing happens with the fluid in our inner ear. So when we move our heads forward, the fluid in your inner ear strikes a nerve that says, hey, we just moved forward. And when we turn left, the fluid in our inner ear sloshes around and it tells our brain, hey, we looked over to the left. And when we tilt, the fluid in our inner ear says to our brain, hey, we tilted, right? And it all contributes to the signals being sent to your brain. So all of this happened. Do we have any questions on those?
No.
No.
Does anybody have a history of like, well, the other good way to explain the vestibular, the inner ear, remember when you were a kid and you would spin around a bunch, right? I'm on a stool right now. I get nauseous pretty easily. But if you spin around a lot and then you stop, but you still feel that sensation of spinning,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Right.
your inner ears still talking to you. So people who have a history of like vertigo, oftentimes they suffer from balance issues because they have that sensation of spinning when it's not really happening. So that's just an important point to touch on, right? So all of these three systems are working constantly your whole life, like from the moment you're born, every minute of every day, they're telling us tons of information. And your brain is an incredible place that can interpret all of those signals and then give your body the appropriate response to maintain your uprightness, right? To keep you from falling. So the reason people fall is oftentimes one of these three systems starts to decrease. And the next slide is going to kind of show that, right? So I like charts and graphs. So if you think of it like a pie chart, right? We have our inner ear that makes up about a third of our balance, and we have our vision, which makes up about a third of our balance, and our sensation, right? And all of those contribute pretty equally to keeping us upright. But let's say it's dark out. Let's say we're getting to our car in a dark parking lot, right? That compromises our vision a little bit. So what happens is if the vision starts to go down, the inner ear and the sensation have to kind of pick up the slack for that vision, right? And if those aren't strong enough to pick up the slack, a lot of times people end up either close to falling or actually falling because one of those systems is a little compromised and the other two aren't strong enough to make up for that compromise. Does that help? Does that make sense to see?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. So how do we test these out? Really simple way to see how good is my body at regulating my balance and keeping me upright. So the first one, we're all going to do this. Okay. Make sure you have something close by to hold on to, a wall or a chair. I like to do this like in a corner. I'll bring my patients over to a corner. But what we're going to do is stand up wherever you are. Put your hands on your hips. Right, feet shoulder width apart, nice, comfortable. Do what you have to keep your balance. And just pay attention right here. Feet shoulder width apart, eyes open, hands on your hips. Pay attention. See like if maybe like you're swaying a little bit, if you're like back and forth a little bit, just see how you feel here. I'm going to stop talking. And then from here, we're going to test our sensation system and our inner ear system, because what I'm going to have you do is really gently, and again, do what you have to do to keep your balance, really gently close your eyes. Just for a second or two. And see what that does. Maybe your ankles start to work a little bit more. Maybe you start to sway. Maybe you can only close them for a second before you feel like I got to hold on to something. But see how that feels. Because that's the simplest way to test how's the fluid in my inner ear responding, and how's my body telling me where I am in space. So try that. Another 10 seconds or so. Good. Okay, how did we do?
I personally have to totally focus on what I'm doing because I tend to sway. So if I totally focus that my eyes are closed and I'm trying to stand straight, that's how for me.
With
Good.
my eyes closed, I felt like I was sort of going forward, like not pitching's too strong a word, but I thought I was going like forward.
A little bit of like a sway.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's really common. Both of those sensations are really common. And so that tells us, since nobody fell, which is a good thing, that your systems are still good. They're intact. But Jude, you have to focus a lot. Helga, you feel like you're pitching a little bit. We could probably suffice to train them a little bit better so that you don't need to think so much and you don't need to rely so much on your conscious thought to keep you upright.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I sort of know I'm overthinking everything I'm doing lately for whatever reason. I
Mhm.
just overthink and I focus too intensely so that my body just stops.
Right. And that's what it's doing what it needs to do to keep you safe, which is a good thing. And we want to train it so that you don't need to think as hard and it just keeps you upright. So that's really good information to get from both of those. Okay, next one. This is a little tougher. Okay, I want everybody to have something to hold on to. I'm gonna go hold on to a wall over here. Okay, but you're gonna stand. Last time we had your feet shoulder width. This time they're gonna be almost like you're on a tightrope, right? They're gonna be kind of narrow. I'm gonna tilt my screen down and stop sharing so you guys can see me fully here, right? But you're gonna stand with your feet kind of like they're on a tightrope. Okay, they don't have to be totally like this, right? But just here and have something to hold on to from there. So we're gonna try this. Tell me when you're in position, because then we're good. Okay, because what we're gonna do from here is keep your fingers close to the wall. See if you can let go. And do it again. Do what you have to do to keep yourself up. So if you guys take a step to the side, that's fine. You gotta widen your base a little bit, that's fine. But I'm gonna let you go for like 10 seconds with your right foot in front.
What do you want me to do on my right foot? Move?
No, 10 seconds with your left foot in front, then 10, then change it.
Thanks, Frank. Good. And then switch feet and see what the difference is between your left foot and your right foot. Again, you can hold on to something if you need to. Good. And see how you're feeling, right? Or is one working harder than the other? Is your left side easier than your right side? Just pay attention to what you feel.
Left is easier.
Left is easier. Left in front or left behind, Jude?
Actually, both. Not, it's a little wobbly behind, but in front, it's very sturdy.
Okay. So you feel more comfortable with your left foot in front.
Yes.
Good. You guys can stop. You can stop what you're doing. You can come back and sit down if you prefer. We'll get up and stand in another minute or so.
Can I interject?
Right. Talk to her.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Yes.
I had an unusual feeling that my right foot forward was a lot more comfortable because I attribute it to the fact that I'm right-handed. Has that anything got to do with it?
Good question. Typically, we have one side that's stronger than the other.
Correct.
And usually that's not a problem for people. It becomes a problem for people when it's such a significant difference that
Mhm.
that they can't do it with their other side, if that makes sense. And usually it's interesting that you say that, because usually in the studies they've done with this of standing with one foot in front of the other, it's usually the back foot that bears more weight and does more of the work. So you said with your right foot in front, you felt more comfortable?
It was the other way. It was back.
With
It
your
was
right foot
yeah.
back. Right. So
Yeah,
that
I felt more solid that way.
right.
It was insignificant, the distance between the two, but I could tell.
Yeah, and your
I
body
could
was,
tell. Right
yeah.
was more comfortable, more solid. Yeah.
Yep. That's a really good observation to understand that and to recognize it. And
Well,
it's
I want to share it. I
yeah,
want to share it with.
that's good information for the group. I appreciate that.
Okay, now I have two new hips. So I don't predominantly have a right or a left. Mine vary actually. One is strong, one is less strong, and they alternate on different things. It's just, I don't have a predominance toward my right hand or my right side because I'm right-handed. Is that because of my hips?
Well, did you have both hips done at the same time, Jude?
Yes, yes,
did.
yes.
God bless you. Dude, that's a special kind of crazy to do that, Jude. There's any number of reasons for that. Probably the operations explain it, and probably the fact that you had to go through rehab on both sides means that you have differences in different motions. Whereas what Frank was talking about, Frank, I don't know your surgical history or anything like that, but typically if you haven't specifically targeted both sides, you usually have one side stronger than the other in most things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Nice. These are great questions, guys. My goodness. Loving it. So what we just tested there, right? When we put your feet together is we test that sensation, right? And we take away your body's what we call like its base of support. We narrow it down and we say to your vision and the fluid in your inner ear, hey, pick up the slack. We don't have our usual 2 feet solid on the ground sensation. We're in this weird position. Can our inner ear and our vision keep us upright? And it sounds like everybody could. It sounds like we all had a little different challenges in there, but we could, right? So they're intact. Could we work on them? Always. We can always work and make things strong. So those are how to test those two. To test the inner ear requires a lot of expensive equipment that you'd find at a hospital or a big rehab facility. They spin you around or they put a box on your head. It's a whole big thing. So we won't do that today. Just know that if you've had a history of inner ear issues or vertigo or like even sometimes ear infections or ringing in the ears, that can kind of compromise the vestibular system. So if you have a history of that and you're concerned about it, your physician is the first doctor who you should talk to about that. But if you were concerned about it and wanted to work on it, a lot of what I do with people is I help them upregulate those other two systems so that it doesn't matter if their inner ear is a little bit compromised. The other two systems can pick up the slack enough to keep you upright. All right, so other factors that impact our balance, right? So we have our 3 systems. All right, pop quiz time. What are the 3 systems?
Eyes, inner ear,
Ears
Feet.
and your feet.
and your feet.
Yeah, sensation. Yeah, bingo. Good job. Props to you guys. All right, so the other factors that can impact our balance are kind of obvious, but we'll go through them anyway, right? How strong we are, right? How flexible we are, how our muscles are able to work over long periods of time, which we call endurance, and then psychological, right? A fear and having had a previous fall certainly all go into how good our balance is, right? People tell me I have great balance or I don't have great balance, right? All those factors go into it. What I want us to try to test kind of the flexibility in our feet, and I'll make myself big again here. So we're all sitting, right?
Yes.
Scoot your feet, right? If your feet are out here, scoot your feet so that they're under the chair, wherever you are. And then we're going to scoot our bottoms, our rear ends, all the way to the edge of that seat. What we're going to try to do is lean forward, but keep your heels on the ground. So if your heels are already up like this, walk your feet out and try to lean forward and see if you can keep them on the ground. And then if they stay on the ground, scoot them back, lean forward, and see if and where you get to a point where those heels start to come up.
Move the leg, seat back. Okay, now do it.
Got it. Ask questions if you got them, guys. This is a good group. Whose heels are coming up?
I know,
Yours are, Jude?
yeah, they are.
Okay.
The further I push them back under my chair,
Yes.
they come up.
Yep. That's what I would expect is going to happen. So what we're doing here is we're testing the flexibility of your ankles. Yeah, Helga, you're laughing at me?
Yeah, I broke my ankle in April.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. What's your heel doing? What's going on with that?
I have bionic slippers on right now, and my heel is just staying in the slipper and nothing's moving up,
Okay, good. So it's staying pretty flat on the ground.
staying flat.
Okay, if you move back,
Flat.
does that change?
What did you do?
What'd you do? I didn't hear.
If you slide your foot further back underneath you,
Slide it further back, then start doing it. Then does it come up?
and then if you lean forward, does it come up at all?
Slightly.
Very slightly.
Slightly. Okay, good.
The heel is coming out of the slipper a little bit.
Don't come out of your slippers. We want you safely in those things. They sound warm. So what we're looking at is the flexibility in your foot and your ankle. The flexibility in your foot and your ankle plays a huge role in keeping you upright. Because think about it, if you're walking on stiff feet and ankles, and you say you're in a parking lot, right? And there's a pothole in the parking lot, and there's something in the parking lot. If your foot has the flexibility to move and adjust for that, you're probably staying upright. If it's stiff and you don't have a lot of mobility, you're probably going down, which is a silly reason to go down if you don't have if stiffness in your foot is the reason that it's being caused. So what I'm going to do, I have a really good exercise that I like to help with ankle stiffness and like improving flexibility in feet and ankles. Then I'm going to send all you guys as soon as we're done here. It's a little YouTube video that I like to have anybody do who's been through any kind of like ankle sprain, who's had a history of falls, who's got some limited range of motion in those joints. I'm going to send you guys that when we're done here. So that's among the other factors, right? Our flexibility, obviously endurance, right? Of being able to move about our days and get through the end of the day with the same strength you had when you started the day. That's a whole different lecture that we'll do another time. So those are the main factors, right? Our strength, flexibility, endurance, and fear, or like a history of a previous fall. So now we get into the real meat and potatoes here, right? How to get stronger safely. I'm a big believer of like no excuses, right? You don't need a gym, you don't need fancy equipment. Like you start where you are and you use what you have. So we're all gonna start where we are. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about, right, what's our why? Why do we want to get stronger? Why is it important that we avoid falls? Why is it important we get our balance better? That's going to be a very personal thing for you guys. You can share it with me or you don't have to, right? But for some of us, it's, I want to be able to stay independent at home, right? If you live alone, whatever the reason might be. For some of us, it's I got to get up and down the bleachers at the soccer games because I got to keep watching my grandkids play soccer. Hint, hint. Right? So there's a lot of reasons that we want to be strong and we want to be safe, and they're very personal. And if ever you're doubting, hey, is this working, or why am I doing this, or why is it important that I fix this? You gotta fall back on your why, right? So I would encourage you guys, when we're all done here, I would write down why you came to this talk today, because why you came to this talk is your why for wanting to feel strong, wanting to get better balance, and wanting to make sure that you're not gonna go down. Right? That's the first thing is our motivation. The second thing is consistency, right? Sometimes you'll hear people say like, oh, I ate a salad today. Like, why didn't I lose any weight? Right? Like you gotta eat salad all week to lose weight, right? So, hey, I did your exercise. Why isn't my balance better? Because you got to keep doing the exercises. So staying consistent, and that can be really hard to do unless if you forget about your why. When you have your why there, it's usually pretty easy to stay consistent, right? And then the last part of this is progressive, right? And I call it the Goldilocks effect, where we can't do too little, where we don't change anything, and we can't do too much, where we put too much demand on your body and we end up hurting it. We have to find what's just right for you, what's just right for Judy and Mimi and John. And that's where some guidance can really help, right? But again, we start where we are and we use what we have. Any questions on this? Any thoughts? Anybody want to share their why?
My why is I need to stay at a place where I feel comfortable in who I am. I want to be strong because I feel better strong. When I exercise, I feel better exercises. My back doesn't hurt, my arms don't hurt, my hips don't hurt, and I can move and I can be mobile. Because I was immobile for such a long time, mobility is a marvelous thing for me.
Love it. Yeah, thanks for sharing, Jude. That's a good why.
Yeah.
Good why.
And I get angry when I slip and I don't keep my plateau. I'd like to go above my plateau, but I need to keep my plateau.
Right.
Like, for instance, on my strength development, I have slipped way back. I want to be a 10. I don't want to be a 3. Maybe a 4 in a week, but I don't want to be a 3. So it's up to me. It's my own determination if I want to get better and stronger.
That's it. You're spot on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to spout off, ladies.
That's okay. That's all right. Good. Because I'm certain that everybody's why is just as emotional as yours is, right? You could hear the emotion in your voice just now, right? And I'm sure that that everybody has that same emotional backing to their why, right? And to their motivation. So good. Okay. So we got motivation, we got to stay consistent, and we have to do things in the right order that produces the right Goldilocks effect for you specifically. Okay. We've sat for far too long. I don't like sitting and I don't like talking this much either. So we got to do some stuff. So first and foremost, try it for the rest of the day. No more flopping into chairs, right? You all know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to get one of my chairs that has a back. Right? We have these nice cushy chairs or a nice lovely couch that you worked hard and you bought and it's wonderful. And we go to sit down in it and we do that, right? Raise your hand if you're guilty of doing that today.
Not today.
Not today? Good for you, Jude. So we're going to stand up from whatever chair we are sitting in and we're going to practice not flopping. Okay? So I'll make myself big here. Okay? We won't do a lot, but it's not rocket science. Sit and don't flop. Just control yourself on the way down. We're gonna do 3 like that, right? So everybody stand up. We'll do 3 from here, right? So it's up tall, okay? And then slowly lower and sit. That was 1. 1 up. Good. And again, slowly lower. That's 2. And if you got to use handles or you got to push off something to stand up, I'm fine with that for now. All right, 1 more time. Don't flop. Okay, it's that simple. It's not rocket science. It doesn't take a ton of extra effort, but recruiting those muscles in the simplest way is going to help with that sensation part of our balance, right? It's going to help us get stronger, but it's also going to force our body to recognize where it is in space and how to control that type of descent, if you guys will. So that's the first one. Second one is we're going to stand with our feet together, just like we did on the very first one that I gave you, where we stood with our feet shoulder width, and then we close our eyes. Next time you are brushing your teeth, you are waiting for something to come out of the microwave, there's a commercial break during TV, I want you to stand with your feet as close together as you can get them. And again, I got big. As close as you can get them together. Okay. Hands on your hips. Doing what you have to do to not fall. Okay. So if you can't get them that close together and you want them like 2 inches apart, I'm good with that. If you want more of a challenge, if you're like, hell, I could do this forever, this is easy. If you wanted more of a challenge, then bring that right foot a little bit in front of your left. I'll turn so you guys can see here. Okay. And again, when you're brushing your teeth, you got the counter to hold on to. When you're waiting at the microwave, you got a counter to hold on to. You're watching something on TV, go do it against the wall, right? But it's this little, not a big deal. It doesn't take a ton of machines or anything like that. This tiny little movement that's going to retrain your body and upregulate those other systems to reduce your risk of falling. It's really simple. How are we feeling with that one? Good.
Swaying a little bit.
A little sway. So
Little
how
sway.
you'll be interested if you do this every day for the next 3 or 4 days, you're going to notice that sway goes down.
Okay.
The nice thing about these exercises is your body picks them up pretty quickly. Your nervous
Okay.
system learns really fast. I'm curious, and I'm going to call you on maybe Monday, because by Monday, you're going to start to feel like, hey, I'm getting a little better at these, right? And you are getting better at them, but your body's also learning how to regulate that a little bit better. Very good, guys. All right. So those are the first two. Next one is what I call step taps. So if you're not near your stairs now, don't worry about this one. But I'm gonna pull out my little step that I have over here. I have one of these, guys. If you have one of these, great. If you don't, use the stairs that are in your house or on your front stoop. Okay. And with a step tap, this is all it is. Step it side to side. I'll turn so you guys can see it from the front. Right. But again, we're forcing a little bit of balance through your standing leg. Right. This is a motion that we have to do all the time to get up and down curbs, to get up and down stairs. When we walk, walking is just continuously standing on one foot and then standing on your other foot. And you don't have to step all the way up onto it. That's recruiting a whole different set of muscles. All we're doing, I'll turn this way again, is just tapping. Okay? And it should be just your toes that go on. If you put your heel on, you're cheating. It should just be little tiny taps with your toes. Those are a favorite of mine, again, because you don't need any special equipment, and they're really effective at teaching your body how to shift its weight and how to well, not how to learn, it knows how to learn, how to upregulate that sensation system, the inner ear system, and the vision system. If you wanted to make that harder, you close your eyes. We're probably not there yet. But there's very simple ways to progress this stuff. So, all right. So we got no more flopping. We have feet together. We have step taps. And then my favorite exercise of all time ever is a push-up. There's a reason they've been around for thousands of years, right? Now, mine's different because I do it at a wall. So you're going to find a wall. You're going to go down and come up. It's very simple. You're not going to feel like you're doing a whole heck of a lot. If you wanted more of a challenge, you could back further away from the wall. But that's what it looks like. Your heels can come up a little bit from the wall. I'll show you what my feet are doing down here. Right. Oh, you can't see. There we go. Okay, so my heels come up just a little bit as we push up. How are we doing with that, guys? I got you working a little bit here today. I should have warned you that you might be sweating. Good. Any questions on that, folks? Does anybody want to know why a push-up helps your balance?
With the feet together or apart at that push-up?
I usually do like shoulder width apart.
Shoulder width apart?
Yep.
Well, I'm just after a few, I'm breathing heavy because I am a 500% couch potato. So I have to really get moving.
I'm gonna highlight something for you here. Right? Start where you are.
That's right.
Start where you are. That's it. I'm very proud of you for just being here. That puts you way ahead of a lot of other people, Mimi, and like, that's good. And again, similar to how your body will adjust when you're that swaying sensation. In a couple days, you're going to be better at that. Start with 3 push-ups today. Tomorrow, do 3 more. Saturday, try 4. Sunday, try 4, right? It's not like you got to do 1,000 of these things. I usually, when I work out, I'm not doing more than 10 of anything at a time. Because we don't need any more than that, right? So start where you are and use what you have. It's awesome that you're here. My other 2 kind of pieces of advice, they're not specific exercises, but are to find an extra 5 minutes, right? Turn your TV off, turn your phone off, turn everything off, and just walk an extra 5 minutes, whether it's inside, outside, whatever it is. Make a concentrated effort to move a percentage more every single day. And then my last piece of advice, and this is total bonus, is take an extra trip up and down the stairs once every day, right? Real simple, but your body, again, will start to realize the demand that you're putting on it. And it doesn't matter. People have told me like, oh, Kelly, can you really still build muscle at my age? Or can I really still get stronger at my age? Absolutely. Overwhelmingly, yes. Overwhelmingly, yes. It just has to be done the right way. We have to do it the Goldilocks way. And this is a really good place to start, right? So that extra trip up and down the stairs, or that extra 5 minutes of walking every day. My bonus exercise, that is like, push-ups are still my favorite. This is a close second, is getting up and down off the floor. And I think Judy knows this really well about me, right? Getting up off the floor shows us a lot about a person's flexibility, a person's mobility, a person's balance. So there are steps we can take, and if you want specific exercises, I could show them to you, or I'll send them to you rather, about how to safely get up and down off the floor. Because one thing no one talks about with falling, right, is sure, we're all nervous to fall. What you're more nervous about is not being able to get up, right? Usually we're nervous about hurting something when we fall, but then once I'm down there, how am I going to get up? So if we practice that before we need to use it, I like the phrase, stay ready so you never have to get ready, right? If we train that skill before you need it, then when you need it, you have it. So I can send out a specific series of exercises that will help with that. But again, we have to kind of progressively load this stuff up. So that's it as far as my presentation for you guys. What questions do you have for me?
Well, I really, I know I really need this, and I thank you for doing this. I think it's going to really help me.
Yeah, of course.
And
And it looks like I got Frank involved too.
Let's go, Frank.
And I can attest to the fact that it really does help you, because no matter, like, if you are ill or you can't do your exercises for whatever reason and you slack off, at our age, if we start from the beginning again, we'll reach the goal that we have set for ourselves. And I know it works because I've done it, and I've fallen backwards, and I've done it again through Kelly's help. But I know it works if we just take at it.
That's it, the consistency. Yeah. Awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for your participation and for being here. And this is why I do what I do, is to be able to educate and help and give people a jumping off point and give people kind of hope that yeah, I can get better and I can do this. And I'm always here as a resource for you guys. So that being said, I can't leave this without giving you at least a chance to do more with me. So what we're going to do, and I had done a little bit of this back in the springtime when quarantine all started, but I started doing workouts for people, I called it like age 60 plus, right? Who wanted to improve their balance, their flexibility, and their strength. And so what I'm thinking of doing is for the next 4 weeks, of doing the workouts via Zoom, right? So just like we're on now. And because you guys are here, we'll do your first one for free. And then we'll do an offer for the next 3 weeks after that. I'll probably charge like $10 a class after that. And what that'll help do is help hold you accountable, right? And stay consistent, which is our first two things. I'm always here to motivate you. And with the way I work and the way I do it, if something's too hard, right? If we go back to the slide up here of progressive, where is it? Right? So that'll help you stay motivated. It'll help us all stay consistent. And if you're telling me, Kel, it's too hard to do this, I can right away give you a modification for that exercise. Or if you're telling me that, Kel, it's too easy, I can give you a progression of that exercise, and we can make sure that we're getting the right fit and the right exercises in for you. And then that way you'll have exercises you can do at home. We can get you on a program that's going to help you reach whatever specific goals that you want to reach. Because like that's what we all need right now. And if I've learned anything through the whole pandemic, it's that like health is wealth, and that we need to do everything in our power to get healthy and stay healthy, because we could have all the time in the world, but if we can't do anything with it, the time does us no good. So just email me if you want in on that, if you want to take advantage of that, and we'll start next Wednesday, which is what is that? The 17th, I think? 16th. What day is it, Frank?
16.
16th. Thank you, sir. So we'll start this week with that. So if you guys are interested, just drop me an email or give me a call as soon as we're done here, and we'll get you signed up for that. All right?
I'm thinking of telling my friend down the shore about this, and I'm going to see if she's interested. Her name is Jean.
Jean. The more the
Jean.
merrier. The more,
Pardon me?
I said the more the merrier.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Bring her in. I would love that.
Could you put up that thing about the different exercises? Like I have the
Oh, yeah.
push up off the wall. I have the step up steps. I didn't write everything down.
Yep. Hang on.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Here we go. Beautiful. That's wonderful. Any other questions for me? John, you've been quiet. Not to call you out.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome, maybe. All righty, guys. I'll be in touch. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, reach out if you have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
do have a question, Cal.
Go ahead, Jude.
Okay, if you train and you still want to participate in the in our sessions moving forward, do you have to give up some of your training time?
No, you're in.
Okay,
We'll do double sessions for you, Jude.
okay, thank you.
Of course. Of course.
All right, guys. But it was fun meeting you all.
Wonderful. Guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Take care, everybody.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
take care.
You
Stay
too.
well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.